And welcome to another video on magic, and I'm doing this while my previous video is exporting. I'm going to jump right into the afterlife and the difference between light and dark spirits. I like to think of it as multiple planes of existence. Say we live on like one physical plane and spirits live on another, or many others, like the circles of hell, or the different levels of heaven, or the untamed land, or something else. There are bridges between them that spring up either at random or intentionally, and sometimes they were just there to begin with. Other times it's because of like a physical object. Say if I wanted to take this necklace, which is I already hold dear to me, but if I were to take this necklace and pour enough energy into it and put my will um, towards making a bridge between this plane and, say, the one that my friend Sam is on, because she died of the flu about 1.5 years ago in her sleep. If I wanted to create a bridge between that, if I poured enough energy and will into doing that, and I'd actually probably have to get some help, because that is not a small task, but if I wanted to, I could, because they're so, think of it as the difference between dead code and living code in terms of like in a video game, like how the coding for a living body is very similar to the coding of a dead body. We have the same spirit, and we can create a bridge to connect them. I don't know if this makes any sense to you viewers, but it's what I have. Gates can be formed with energy in two or more like vessels safely. Say if I were to create something like, if I were to take these two little things on my necklace, and this would be one part of the bridge, or one key to the bridge, and this would be another key to the bridge. And I would have to have these both together and use them at the same time, or to open it and allow the spirit to come past. Ouija boards are used to take a spirit that's already here or is on another plane. I'm not quite sure how those work. Pretty sure it's already there, and have them speak to you. Usually it's more powerful, darker spirits, which is what I'm about to get into. There's a difference between a deity and a darker spirit, or like a line spirit, like a demon or an angel or what have you. The way I see it, and some of you will rage at me for this, but this is my personal belief, is that a god or goddess is simply a powerful spirit. Same with an angel or a demon or what have you. I'm using Christian and Hebrew mythology a lot in this. I'm sorry if this offends some of you, but right now it's all I can think about. A deity would be someone that has accomplished many great feats in their lifetime, or accomplished something just big. And they're not limited to humans. But people like to think that deities are limited to humans, but if Egypt is anything to say, has anything to show about it, is animals can be deities too. Like Gilgamesh, he may be like basically a demigod, because he went to the gods, and at that point they would probably be animals, because humans weren't around very long by the time Gilgamesh was on his quest. Assuming that actually happened, but at this point, either Gilgamesh would be a god or a demigod, not of a specific thing, unlike in Greece or really anywhere else that is polytheistic. He would just be an extremely powerful spirit. Someone who is very elementally aligned to something, like, say, I don't really have an element. Isn't that weird? I'm a combination of all four of them, just separate. Like, 4 different souls, but I'll get into that tomorrow. No, I won't be here tomorrow. I'll get into that later. My next video, probably, when I talk about elements. But if someone is like, say, if I were very, very, very aligned to fire, I would be, after death, if I was powerful enough, I would be more or less a fire god. A post-mortem spirit is basically just a collection of life energy that exists after a person has physically died. Like, if I got stabbed, all the energy that I have collected over my years of practicing and the initial energy that I've already had would just come out of me. I would die because I'd be out of life energy. Also, everything would shut down. That wouldn't be a pretty sight. But that would condense into a ghost, or it would go into the creation, or it would go into another person. Like, if a baby was going to be born within a month or two, or even a day, or even like 100 years. Like, there's no set time for reincarnation. It just happens. And I strongly believe in karma, because I have seen that stuff firsthand, and I'm going to curse a lot less, because I'm probably gonna get like a lot of crap for my last video, and the fact that I said one word. Anyway, that's actually all I have on the subject. I never got to finish this part. I want to talk about a spirit that has been plaguing me for actually a few years, almost all of my life. I wouldn't say plaguing me, but has been reoccurring throughout all of it. The name is Blood, and she wears a mask sometimes. She can also change her shape. By a mask, I mean, like, it. If you watch Bleach, you know how Ichigo, or I don't want to spoil it, but like when Ichigo became a Soul Reaper, he had to tear off a white mask. Basically, kind of like that. Almost, but not. The pattern is much different. If there is a pattern, I was like 11 when I saw that mask. And that exploded. Sweet. But she also has been. She reoccurs only in dreams, though I have seen like images of her. Not like images, but like mental images of her whilst going down like a nature path. Like, that's. She was wearing the mask and it's gonna sound funny, she was wearing a mask and a top hat. And I got home, and the first thing that popped in my head was her name is Blood, and that's all. That was all for that year. And then, actually, when I was 5, the first time I had actually met her was she was a black woman about my age at that time, so she was like 5, 6, 7, somewhere around there. And she was nice, very nice. And then when I was 11 and I saw her with the mask, she seemed like curious about me. And when I was 12, I actually brought her into my dream. I was in a marketplace, kind of. Like, I was in a town square, and I said, "Blood, if you are here, please come to me." And this Native American woman with blonde hair walks up to me, and it's going to sound weird, but blonde hair looked real. Like, say, if she was a second generation mix between a Scandinavian and a Native American, and out of somehow they just happened to have a Native American kid with blonde hair. But we talked, and I don't remember any of the conversation, but all I know is I learned a lot about myself from that. I don't even remember what I learned. I just came out there feeling wiser. So if anybody could help me with that, I would greatly appreciate that. Cannot speak today. Um, Thank you all for listening, and put your ideas about what blood is in the comment section below, or to the get my to the right, depending on what device you're using. If you're using a tablet, it's going to be on your right. If you're on the computer, it's going to be down. So please help me out with this one. No idea what's going on. And I will see you in my next video, which will be in 5 minutes.